Okay, again, so my name is Attorney Renan Tipisulit. I am a registered migration agent here in Australia, and my MARA number is 1382407. I would like to welcome you all, no? I would like to welcome you all in our free information webinar. So my main task tonight is to explain to you your pathways and how to become a registered nurse here in Australia and how to become an immigrant here in Australia. It is only RPS that can do it for you because aside from RPS migration services, I am also the owner of Australian certified trainers, and you will be amazed on how we can do it and how we are creating pathways for our internationally qualified nurses. All right, so let's um, let's continue. So I'm going to share with you my presentation for tonight. All right. So, and that is called the fast track registration to residency for, no, that's not for RadTech, but for the OBA for nurses. So here, fast track registration to residency for nurses through OBA with PTE made easy. All right. So sometimes I also call it as NCLEX and OSCE made easy to residency in Australia, not through RPS migration services. So in this program, right away, you will see a lot of services. Number one is registration. Number two is residency. And of course, with our English proficiency test, which is Pearson test of English. So these and more are the services of RPS migration for you. No? So that's why I have created this pathway for nurses, and I have been doing this for over 10 years already. I have been in this practice for over a decade. Maybe some of you are still in the elementary or are in the high school. I have been doing this for over a decade already. That's why this is a proven and tested pathway. Though the mode of assessment for international qualified nurses, no, is changing here in Australia. However, the end goal of our program is for you to become an immigrant. No, why? I am going to answer that later. So you might also ask questions later. So you might type all your questions in the chat box so that I can answer that later. Our case officers are going to contact you as well. So be sure that your WhatsApp is available. So whenever you have questions, no, and whenever you want to engage RPS right away. Now, let's proceed with the first slide, no? So APRA, which is the regulatory body of nurses here in Australia, through NMBA, which is the board for nurses and midwives, no, has several modes of assessment for internationally qualified nurses. Maybe some of your friends did the university pathway, meaning to say that they come here to study, and after their study, they became registered nurses here in Australia. That is possible, and that is called the university pathway. Sometimes there is a credit transfer, sometimes there is no credit transfer. Here in Victoria, for example, there are universities that give credit transfer. For example, Deakin University, La Trobe University, instead of doing it for 3 years, you are doing it for 1 year only. Okay, so and that is called the conversion course. Sometimes they do it for 2 years. For example, in Sydney, they call it Bachelor of Science in Nursing or Masters of Nursing. So they do it for 2 years, and then after 2 years, then they can apply for registration. So before there was no issue about getting the graduate visa for those who did the 2 year course. However, come um, several months ago or a year ago, there was a change that graduate visa is only available for those who are 35 years old and under. So meaning to say that if you are 36 years old, you will not be eligible for the post-study visa or the graduate visa that allows you to work full-time and allows you to stay here in Australia for the longer time, no, for 18 months more, so that you can work full-time. There is no such postgraduate study visa anymore for those who are 36 years old and above, no? But sometimes those nurses who have partners, who have spouses, they do the masters of nursing. Why? Because the dependent can work full time for 2 years, no? And if they are less than 35 years old when they finish the course, then they are eligible for 2 more year visa. So therefore they can work full time, both of them. So it's really a strategy for our nurses, no, if they do the masters of nursing or bachelor of nursing anyway. So that those courses lead to registration as well, and that is the university pathway. The catch for the university pathway is that it is very expensive. So for example, in a year you have to spend at least 36,000 Australian dollars. If money is not an issue, uh, is not an issue with you, then you can do the university pathway. That is not the focus of our discussion for tonight. We are going to focus on a different mode of assessment, which I will discuss later on. Another is a Trans-Tasman mutual recognition. This is an arrangement between New Zealand and Australia because they are sisters, right? So there is this arrangement called Trans-Tasman mutual recognition wherein some professionals can be recognized so that they can practice their profession in each other's jurisdiction. So meaning to say, for example, if you are a nurse in Australia, you can become a New Zealand registered nurse. So you can work there and vice versa. So that's why those nurses who find it easier to get registered in New Zealand, they do it in New Zealand, then go to Australia. If you are going to ask me who is easier, who is more easy, I will say Australia. Why? For several reasons. Number one, English proficiency test. In New Zealand, you can only sit for OET and IELTS. You can never sit for Pearson test of English. I'm going to share with you again latest development about the English proficiency levels and the changes in the English proficiency tests here in Australia. Now, number two, they need in Nursing Council of New Zealand the recency of practice. No, the recency of practice is, for example, in the last 5 years or in a year, you must have at least um, this kind of number of hours. Okay, you have to show it, and you have to show it the moment you apply for assessment for registration. Another one is that they also do the competence assessment, no, in New Zealand, just like the OBA here in Australia. So here in Australia, we accept PTE. We don't need recency of experience. As long as you pass examination, you will become a registered nurse. Okay, so that's easy. And then once you become a registered nurse, go to New Zealand if you want to go to work there. So that's why many of my nurses in New Zealand go to Australia and do the OBA, get registered here, and go back to New Zealand. So it's not the other way around. No, before the competence assessment in New Zealand, those nurses working in Singapore, UK, and Ireland, no, do the mutual recognition of their licenses from Singapore, UK, Ireland to New Zealand, and once they get registered in New Zealand, they go to Australia for the Trans-Tasman. Now it is gone. There is no such thing like that anymore. So what is now existing is the direct registration for Australia for those nurses who are working in Ireland, New Zealand, Ireland, UK, Singapore, British Columbia, and Ontario. So they can apply for direct registration in Australia. So however, there is a time reference for that, so that's why there is a limited number only for that mode of assessment. So the focus of my discussion for tonight is the outcomes based assessment. No, this is the newest approach of APRA in assessing internationally qualified nurses. I remember in March 2020, hang on, something is there is a feedback for the sound. I have to think this one. All right. So sometime in March 2020, APRA has changed the way they are assessing internationally qualified nurses. Before the outcomes-based assessment, there was a bridging course, meaning to say that you will come here, do the short course for 6 weeks, for 12 weeks, and then after that, you will become a registered nurse here in Australia. But they changed it in March 2020. They changed it to outcomes-based assessment, or the OBA. That's why if you are following me for the longest time, no? If you are following for the longest time, 5 years back, if you're going to search for my page, I have been promoting this outcomes-based assessment, and many were not believing that outcomes-based assessment will be launched, no, will be um the new way of assessment for international qualified nurses. And I believe that it would be the new mode of assessment. That is why I created Australian certified trainers in 2019. So a year before the launch of the OBA, I already created the Australian certified trainers that will be in charge for the training, for the examinations for nurses. Okay? And now Australian certified trainers is not only offering training for nurses, but also for RadTech, for physiotherapists, and soon we will have our GP doctors with Australian certified trainers. You see, we are very dynamic in our services. Now let's go back to outcomes based assessment. No, what is really the outcomes based assessment? So APRA has reduced the criteria for the international qualified nurses in order to get registered. So before there were 8 criteria, and they shortened it to only 3 criteria. No, and the outcome of the change is the outcomes based assessment, which is from that March 2020, the NMBA transitioned to a new assessment model for internationally qualified nurses, and that is based on the national law, and the focus is solely on your qualifications. That's why those nurses who have just graduated and passed the board examination in the Philippines can right away sit for this outcomes-based assessment, because the focus is only on the qualifications. They deleted the recency of practice, because once you pass these examinations, that is called your recency of practice. Get it? So now the focus is more on the qualifications. Again, those who have just graduated, no, from the university, get their board examinations done, pass it, then they would qualify for the OBA. That's why now here in our training center, my God, there is a lot of Gen Z, like 21, 22 years old. They are here already in Australia, and they are like doing the OSCE. That is amazing. No, that is the change, because they are very aggressive, and those nurses who are between like 35, 36, they are still, they are still undecided on what to do with their lives. Unlike this Gen Z, they know what they are going to do with their lives. Maybe that is the difference between the what you call this, the gap, no, or the kind of generations that you belong to, no, that you belong to. Now, going back to that solely, no, to the sole qualifications, I remember that some universities in the Philippines are doing also the ETIAP, no, ETIAP, meaning to say that it is like the recognition of prior learning, that you have been, for example, doing a lot of things in your life, like assisting nursing, something like that, and then you can do the ETIAP in some universities and pass the board. You can right away do the OBA as well. Okay, so that is a side, that is a special announcement, coming from me. So for those, if you know some people who are doing the ETIAP, they can also do the OBA. Now, so there is no requirement for the reasons of practice. That's why when we do when we create your portal, we're just going to submit your qualifications, your degree diploma, your transcript of records, your identity documents, and then submit that. Then once after 10 days, you will get that letter of eligibility to take the examination, because it is solely the qualifications, no? And then once you pass everything, once you are going to look at your portal, you're going to submit everything. The question is, how did you, no? What is your pathway in your application for registration? You pass the examination. That's what you're going to check. That's why there is no reason to practice. Who knows? There will be changes in the coming days. No, so because APRA has always been changing, for the past 10 years since I became a migration agent, there is a lot of changes. However, no, however, RPS migration is on top of this change, and before the change, I have already given some adjustments to my clients. That's one of the things that you will enjoy with RPS migration. We know your options. You will never go out of options, and you will never your investment here in Australia is very well secured if you are with RPS migration, because you know what you are going to do. All right, let's continue with our discussion for tonight. So nurses from the Philippines belong to stream B. So there is a lot, stream A, stream B, stream C. So forget all other streams, just focus on the stream B, because you have your relevant qualifications. And if you have relevant qualifications, you must complete the outcomes-based assessment. Even if you pass NCLEX in the US, you get registered in the US, but you have never seen the soil of US, you are for the outcomes-based assessment. Okay, even if you saw the soil of the US, if you are not 27 years old, you are going to do the outcomes-based assessment. All right, if you did not graduate on January 1, 2017, then you are going to do the outcomes-based assessment. That's why passing NCLEX is not the complete ticket in becoming an Australian registered nurse. You have to complete the series of tests for the outcomes-based assessment, which RPS Migration, in collaboration with Australian certified trainers, can do for you. All right. So the Philippines, India, and Nepal are the top notchers for the outcomes-based assessment, because these countries, jurisdictions, belong to outcomes-based assessment stream B candidates. Look on how they do it. So this is the flow chart of how we are going to do it. We are going to start with a self-assessment check, and then we have the orientation. That's why once you pass all the examination, you're going to do again the orientation part towards the end. Now, let's move on. Let's focus on the outcomes-based assessment. As mentioned, this is the newest approach of APRA in assessing internationally qualified nurses. This is the same with the competence assessment in New Zealand. Here now in Australia, in order for you to, if you are a medical professional, you really have to do a series of tests. One is a theoretical examination, and another one is the clinical examination. Whatever terms that they will use, it always boils down to the generic names, which is theoretical part of the examination, and the other one is the clinical part of the examination. For the outcomes-based assessment for nurses, the theoretical part of the examination is called the NCLEX. They adopted NCLEX. Now the question is, why did APRA adopt NCLEX? Why did NMBA adopt NCLEX? Would they change? Would they change the examination in the future? So that is a very good question, because since March 2020, they have been adapting. APRA has been adapting this NCLEX. That's why those nurses who pass NCLEX in the US in the last 10 years, from that will be valid, no? That will be valid if it is valid within the last 10 years from the moment you lodge your application. Okay? Now, with the NCLEX, again, no? With the NCLEX, so that satisfies the theoretical part of the examination. Now, even if you sat for US NCLEX, what you are going to transfer in Australia is not the license. It is the result of NCLEX, meaning to say that you are proving that you pass your NCLEX. That's why if you don't have the NCLEX yet, it is better to create the portal in Australia, because once you pass, right away, you are going to the OSCE. No? So if you haven't sat, no, if you haven't done the NCLEX yet, now, why did NMBA approve, or would NMBA change it? In my mind, yes, because New Zealand has its own MCQ, multiple choice question type of test. So this theoretical part of examination in Australia is originally called multiple choice question type of test. Who knows, right? Who knows that APRA through NMBA would create its own multiple choice question type of test in the coming years. That's why for those who have NCLEX already, it's about time for you to apply, because once it changed, now you cannot use it anymore, right? And of course, US now is in retrogression, and it will never be back in the next 5 years or 10 years. Okay, maybe if you are 50, then we are retiring by that time. Okay, now, so it's not only what do you call this, it's not APRA that is only changing the way NCLEX is doing, the way NCLEX is evolving is also changing. So before, the NCLEX is like a knowledge recall. It's all about the content. It's all about the not only the practice, but mostly the content of what you are studying in nursing. Now, in spring of 2023, it's very new. What is spring in the US in 2023? So today, if it's like a spring here, so it is the spring here is September. So September is autumn in the US. So it's sometimes in February. So February, I think, no, in the US. However, spring in the US, during that spring, they changed Pearson, or the what they call this, NCLEX has changed NCLEX to new generation NCLEX. What's the difference? The difference of NCLEX, no, from the new generation NCLEX is that the new generation NCLEX is gearing towards your clinical judgment. And how do you judge? How do you judge how do you apply the clinical judgment? Of course, it must be evidence-based. You must have that cognitive aspects to be applied. For example, how you are going to recognize cues, how are you going to analyze cues, how do you are going to generate solutions, so on and so forth. And it's more about your practice. So you will be given the nurse's notes, you will be given the laboratory results. So you really have to read and what is happening to the patient. For example, the patient, you are assessing the vital signs, and the vital signs like this, and what will happen to the patient if he gets admitted, if he will be under operation. So those are the things that you are going to remember. Now, Australian certified trainers is doing our review for new generation NCLEX, and we do have a lot of passers because of our comprehensive review. I know that nurses are working, and you are only reviewing when you take the test. It should not be like that. So in our review, it's very comprehensive. You will have your own LMS or platform wherein you're going to do a series of tests and you are going to attend these sessions. And our session is every Saturday and Sunday. And we do have now 10 sessions. And that 10 sessions is in 4 weeks. You see? Saturday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday. All right, Saturday, Sunday, and some Sundays you have like 3 sessions. So that's how we do it. For example, if you didn't catch the session, then there is a recorded lecture. Why is it like that? No, because we do have different time zones. No, here in Melbourne, we are 2 hours ahead of your time if you are in Manila. All right, so it's now 8:34 here in Melbourne, and our lecturers are here in Melbourne, and other lecturer is in Perth. In Perth, it is the same with Manila time. So that's why if you are reviewing with Australian certified trainers, you must have your timetable with you so that you will not be lost. Okay, so and here are our lecturers. No, our lecturer is a professor, is a UP professor doing his master's, no, in Monash University here in Australia, and he is finishing his master's. He is NCLEX passer of new generation NCLEX or the old NCLEX as well, and also the OSCE passer. The other one is Sir David. Sir David is a Colombian nurse who also does both NCLEX and OSCE, and is also a trainer for OSCE and for the NCLEX. And the other one is Sir Dwight, who is also a clinical instructor who is here doing his master's, and now he is going to coach you for your NCLEX. So we have 10 sessions. I'm going to show you now on how we do it here in Australia. So you will have this platform with you, okay? So you will have the access in your platform, and you're going to have this NCLEX platform. As you can see with the new generation NCLEX in our training, you will be trained on what kind of questions you are going to do in the actual examination. So you will familiarize yourselves, no? You will familiarize yourselves with the kind of questions, say for example, a bow tie questions. Have you seen a bow tie? For example, if you are attending the party, it's like a bow tie, right? It's a butterfly. So if it's a butterfly, it's like you have 5 questions there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, the first flap is like the actions to take, then the potential condition, and the parameters to monitor. So it's like a both type questions, and you are going to be trained in that kind of questions in our LMS. You see, you have your nurse's notes, you have your order, you have diagnostic results, and all you need to do is to answer these questions and drag and drop. Then that's how you're going to do it. You see, you are really studying, and you have to study because we do have our LMS. It's like one of a kind. It's like if you are doing your best, you will pass it. You have the unfolding cases as well. You have the drag and drop. You have the highlighted time, the matrix, so on and so forth. And we do have the fundamentals. There is a lot of questions. We do have a mock test for 200 questions, and all you need to do is to study. If you, for example, miss the interactive sessions, there are recorded lectures in the LMS right away. So, and there are 10 sessions. It is unlimited. If you didn't pass, you have to take again. You have to pay the examination, but you are not going to pay for the review because it is unlimited. Take it. No, you have to focus because we are doing this. There is no other agency that is doing this except for Australian certified trainers in collaboration with RPS Migration Services. Now, let's continue. So, where am I? So we are now in the clinical part of the examination. If we are good in NCLEX, we are the best in OSCE training because Australian Certified Trainers is the best OSCE training center here in Australia. So we do have a 100% batting average last September, no, of 2024, and our passing rate is very high. Sometimes we have two two casualty or one casualty, so you cannot avoid that. But we are giving towards like 90%, 95%. That's how we do it. If you are following Australian Certified Trainers, it is the only review center that is updating each page daily. Look at the story. What is happening? As you can see, there is a lot of nurses there. There are nurses coming from different parts of the world. We do have Africans, we do have Colombians, we do have Indian, Filipino, Nepal, Chinese, no? But majority are Filipinos, no? Like 50% of them. But because Australian certified trainers is known, especially in China, in the red note, they say there in the red note, they say that Australian certified trainers is the most trusted training center for nurses in Australia. I'm very happy with that. No, I'm very happy with that because it's Chinese that who are telling that to us. No, and I am very proud. I am very ecstatic, happy. No, and because we do have a lot of enrollees. No, we do have a lot of enrollees. Now, the clinical part of the examination is called OSCE. No? OSCE is the objective, structured clinical examination. It has 10 stations. No? It has 10 stations, and you have to pass 7 stations out of 10. And you must score 50% for each station. And if you are looking now at Australian certified trainers, last June, no, last June we do have 2 passers who got perfect scores. We are very happy with that. Only ACT has these perfect scorers in the OSCE. That's why we do have the battery test, we do have the mock test. So how do we do it? No, how do we do it in Australian certified trainers? In your review, you will begin with the online interactive session. So you will have your access in our LMS. You are going to view on the different videos. You have your matrix guides, you have your marking guides, and you have your own script. Then you have to really master. You have to really master the flow. And then once you know your examination dates, you are coming here in Melbourne 2 weeks before the actual examination. I am going to process your visa to come here, a multiple visa for 5 years, and every entry is valid for 3 months. Now, you do your 2-week training. It's only ACT that is doing the 2-week training. If you saw some like review centers doing it for 3 days, 5 days, pack and come to us because it should be 2 weeks. You cannot be ready for 3 days. You know? If you are here in Australia, if you want to join us early, you are welcome. That's how we are encouraging our nurses. It's not about uh only enrolling. It's not you should be learning. You should be a safe practitioner. I'm going to show you as well on how we do our OSCE, no? So this is a sample of the OSCE telecoaching. This is your online platform, and you are going to have these sessions. No, you have these stations, like 10 stations, 33 skills. You have to master. You have to master 33 skills. Say, for example, this blood initiation model. No,
Good morning. Closing the door to provide privacy and dignity to my patient. Doing my hand review, checking for signs of danger. No trips and false hazard noted. The bed brakes are on. No need for PPS. My patient is on standard precaution. I am safe to proceed. Hello, Taylor. My name is Fran. I'm your nurse for today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
That is good to know. So, Taylor, I am here to give you your second bag of blood. As you can see, the first is already consumed, and this is to correct your severe anemia. Will that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so before anything else, may I ask, have you consented to this procedure?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so, and can I identify you?
Sure.
Okay, can you spell out your complete name? Your complete name?
TAYLORSHEPHERD.
Okay, good. Can you tell me your date of birth?
The first of 15,000.
Okay, good. And can I check your ID back?
All right.
Okay, so your number is 810011. 810011. Okay, Taylor, I have the right patient. Thank you so much for that. And may I ask, do you have any allergies to food and medication?
Not that I know of.
That is good to know. Okay, so during your first bag of blood, have you experienced any initial fees such as itchiness or difficulty breathing or rashes in your skin?
No.
Okay, that's good. So I'll be checking your skin from head to toe just to clarify, just to verify, and I'll be checking your IV site. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So first, can I check your IV site?
Okay.
Okay. Do you know when was this inserted?
Last night.
Last night. Is there any pain here?
No.
Good. And there's no rashes and swelling. Okay. This is good. Still pattern. Now here, there's no rashes over your arm. Do you have itchiness in this area?
No.
How about your right arm? Clear. No rashes, no swelling too. Okay, good. Is it okay if I check your chest and abdomen?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no rashes here as well. Okay, it's clear. Can I check your back?
Okay.
Okay, can you sit up?
Okay.
Okay. Are you comfortable right now?
Yeah, fine.
Good. Okay, good. It's clear here. There's no security right now. And I'll be checking your legs, okay?
Okay.
Okay, for the legs, there is no swelling, there is no rashes and redness. Okay, good. So, Taylor, I'll be checking your first observation, okay?
Okay.
Okay, just wait for me.
you see, that's what we are going to do, right? It's a series of practice, and it's like for 2 weeks, and you really have to work very hard. You have to watch the video, because in the face to face, it's a new ball game, because day one, right away, you're going to have your return demo, and we are there to help you. No, we are there to help you. We are not there to, like, terrorize you or whatever, but we are going to help you. But of course, you have to help yourself. You should know the pre-procedure right away, like closing the door for privacy and washing your hands properly. So you should know your script right away, so that we are now going to focus on your skills. Say, for example, your basic life support, your BT initiation or BT reaction, or vital signs, or focus assessment, or the risk assessment. We are going to have those skills, and because we need you to pass. Other review centers don't care, no? They don't care whether you pass or fail, but we do care. That's why our passing rate is very high, no? It's more about helping our nurses pass our examination, and you can feel the concern of the training center. Now let's move on with our discussion. So that is the clinical part of the examination. You see, from the start, no, from the documentation, the way we are assessing you for the NCLEX, next for, and then for the OSCE, we are doing fine. And all you need to do is to follow the trail, no, follow the procedure, and you will never get lost. All right. So now once you finish your OSCE, you go back to your original station. If you are working in the Philippines, continue working in the Philippines, and then wait for the result of your examination. Now, when the result of the examination comes out, of course you pass, yay, well done. We are going to apply for your registration. Of course, you have already completed your Pearson test of English, because the moment you go back to the Philippines or to your original station, you are going to attend our Pearson test of English training online. It's not yet over. It's you have to complete our Pearson, because we will never rest until it is done. And I want you to score for the superior score for Pearson test of English. Now, and once you get registered, then you will have your residency application. I am in charge of your residency application. If you give me everything, like your English test, it's done, then I am going to process your skills assessment. And then after skills assessment, I can get you nominated on, and then we are going to do the expression of interest. And then once you get invited, we are going to launch your permanent residency visa. If in the interim, meaning to say, if in the process, no, you get sponsored here in Australia, you get an employer, so you are coming here in Australia and wait for your residency here. The end game should always be the immigrant status. Why? Because you are well secured. What if you get sacked? You know? What if you get redundant? Then you, you are not secured, right? But if you are now a resident, you are now a permanent resident, you don't need any sponsorship at all, because it is based on your skill. Being a registered nurse, you can work anywhere. Okay, that's why the end game should be residency, because if you are a resident, you can come here anytime, work anywhere. You can do, for example, you can do like bank in some hospitals. You get called in, and then until such time you get absorbed by the hospital. And the priority in getting the job, for the job, is the permanent resident. No, the government is always seeking, is always giving priorities to our permanent residents. No, now, so that is the goal of the residency, making you immigrants here in Australia. So once you become a registered nurse, it opens an opportunity for you for the skills in demand visa, called the working visa, or the subclass 482. And then, of course, it opens opportunities for you for the general skilled migration. And of course, the other one is this employer sponsored visa, which is subclass 186. It's a direct entry for permanent residency. And of course, traineeship visa is a dead visa by now. All right. The how do you what if, for example, someone gives you sponsorship? So you should ensure that you have 1 year of experience, you are a registered nurse here in Australia, you have your valid sponsorship, and you have nomination. You can ask me about it if someone is hiring you. But of course, that is after your registration. Do not get stubborn, even if you apply for the job here in Australia. If you haven't been, if you are not registered nurse here, you will not get the job, okay? Because it is illegal. Now, if someone is giving you subclass 186, that is a direct PR, you must have a 3 years of experience. You must be a registered nurse. You must have your skills assessment. I can do that for you for the skills assessment. All right, for the visa that we are going to process is the general skilled migration. It is a points tested visa. Number one, there must be no medical condition that attracts significant cost to the government, no, to get you well. Say, for example, autism. Okay, that is like kidney transplant. So that's not open heart surgery. That cannot be done. Okay, so another one, you must be a registered nurse and you must be less than 45 years old the moment you lodge your application. However, this is a process from the start, and I need 2 to 3 years. No, I need 2 to 3 years allowance. If you are 43 years old, I cannot accept you for the general skilled migration. But if you are 42, I can accept. Okay, because you have to really decide as early as now. Once you, if you have time, no, once you have the opportunity, you really have to grab this because it is still open until 45 years old, but 42 years old is my limit. Okay, now let's talk about the costs and charges. Coming to Australia is an investment. It is not like going to Dubai or going to Saudi Arabia and work and you are not going to spend anything. Here in Australia, you have to spend something, and then that is your investment, and then it will go back to you. No, the return of investment is very easy because the pay for nurses here starts at 75,000 Australian dollars a year, and that would be about 2.5 million pesos a year. You see, if you are working in one hospital, what if you are working in several hospitals? Right. Number one is your APRA pre-registration. This is in Australian dollars, 410 Australian dollars. Next is the authority to test, the NCLEX exam. So that's what you're going to pay when you are going to take the exam. You're not going to pay all at once. It's not like here is the money and you are going to wait. No, you are going to pay on schedule. OSCE, next year, you're going to pay it to APRA. These are government costs. These costs do not go to RPS. These are government costs that go to the third-party organization and the government. So OSCE training, go to Australian Certified Trainers. Business visa, go to the Immigration 192. And these two go to your APRA. If you pass Pearson, go to Pearson test. So what is not included here is the cost of your permanent residency visa, which you are going to pay to the Australian government. No, once you get invited. So do not give your money to someone. No, just keep your money, and we are going to tell you when to pay, how to pay, where to pay. All right. So that's why you are well secured because you are talking to a registered migration agent. No? So you have to really protect your money. Now, so this is the charge for your visa. Of course, the more visa applicants, the more visa fee that you will have. So for example, as of the moment, this is the cost of your residency visa. So this is the additional applicant if you have a husband or wife, and then that's what you're going to pay to the Australian government. No, once you apply for the visa, many many nurses are not starting because they are thinking of this right away. Do not think of this right away because this is the last thing. If you don't want to apply for residency, just forget this one. Okay, so why do you have to apply for residency? So if you apply for residency, it's like um you you start a new life, just like myself. I was in the Philippines. I've been living in Australia for 16 years already. I was once a supervisor of schools in Batangas City. However, I was like thinking of my future, no, in the Philippines, and I was looking for a better healthcare system. And of course, Australia has this best healthcare system. Whenever you get sick, you go to the GP. Whenever you get, whenever you are not well, then you get, you go to the GP and it's free. No, if there's a cost, it's very minimal. So that's why who never gets sick, who never gets old, right? So that's why you really have to think about yourself. You have to help yourself so that you can help others. Do not like help everyone and forget yourself, and suddenly you are 50 years old. The proper mindset is to help yourself so that you can help others. Okay, rise to the top and then pull others up. Okay, that's how you're going to do it. So, and it is also the pathway to Australian citizenship. Um, Once you become a resident here, it's about like a fulfillment. If that is your goal, you live in a very good country. There, for example, in Melbourne, one of the most livable cities in the world. There was once a time wherein Melbourne has become the most livable city in the world for fifth consecutive time. Because here in Melbourne, especially in the CBD, if you go around, you are not like spending anything. You can take the tram, no, hop in and hop off without paying anything. The whole CBD, and the weather is very good, no. The weather is very good. I am like 52 years old, and I feel like 30 years old. Okay, so that's how you are preserving your you are living your life, no, if you are in Australia. Okay, and it's very easy now, because during my time there was no Zoom, there was nothing like this. There was no like pre-information webinar. There is nothing like that. It's all paper based, and all I need to do is to read everything. All right. So now, um, I want to share with you as well. No, I want to share with you the changes for Pearson Test of English. Hang on. Where is that? So there are changes in Pearson Test of English for superior score. So for superior, you must score at least 88 in speaking and 85 in writing and 70 plus in reading. Okay, that is the superior score. Before, it was all 79 and you get superior score. In proficient, 65 before, you get 10 points. Now it's very different. No? So you will see that in my page in RPS Migration Services, no, the changes. And of course, um, you will see there a lot of immigrants, no, a lot of immigrants get a lot of nurses. If you are also looking at the page of Australian certified trainers, you will see there a lot of nurses. So that's why I am very happy, no, I am very happy to assist you all. So all you need to do is to contact, no, is to contact our case officers, of course, and say, I am going to start, and we are committed to deliver your Australian dream. No? So if you are going to do your part, we are going to do our part as well. Okay, so let me see with some of your questions. So we have Miss Mary here, the WhatsApp of Miss Mary. So you contact Miss Mary or your case officers. All right. So I am very, very happy, guys, to see you all here. It's like a very good discussion every time I discuss nurses, and every time I discuss it with fellow Filipino nurses. Again, thank you so much, guys, and I hope to see you all here in Australia. This is your registered migration agent, attorney Renan Tepi. Sulit with MARA number 138-2407 kay RPS. Sulit ang visa mo.
Thank you, attorney.
Thank you so much.